Hey everyone, welcome back. And I have Miss Caitlin. I'm going to ask you to say your last name because I totally did not ask that beforehand.
That's okay. It's Caitlin Sirois.
Sirois. Oh, awesome. And she's here to talk to us today about authenticity. Caitlin is a mindset and empowerment coach for courageous women who is ready to step into their authenticity. I am a wife, but Caitlin is a wife of two kids, wife and a mom of two. See what I told you?
A wife of two.
A wife of two. She's a wife of two. This is what I get for trying to read it. All right. Caitlin is a wife, and she is a mom of two young kiddos, and very recently quit her 9-to-5 job as a pediatric speech language pathologist. That is a mouthful.
It is.
And it sounds like that was a hell of a decision to make.
It was.
There.
Yes.
You can see the look on your face. Like,
yes. Yes, quite a decision.
Oh, yeah. Here's the person you want to talk to about making a big leap right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's Miss Caitlin. And she quit that job to pursue her coaching business full time. I'm just going to give up on reading.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's good because it's not happening tonight, apparently. I'm actually going to let her take over so I can gather my own self back together. All right. So she has created Courageously Authentic, which I actually found her through my Facebook page. And she has an amazing energy. I love all of her pictures. She does a lot of good pictures too. They have a lot of good energy.
Thank you.
And would you like to tell people what you do with your practice?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I very recently quit my job to pursue the coaching full time. So this is all still very new to me. But what I am doing is I'm helping women who may have a 9-to-5, but just in general feel really unfulfilled in their life in some way. You know, for me, it was like I really dreaded getting out of bed to go to that 9-to-5 job towards the end. So, you feel unfulfilled, kind of out of sync and ready to switch things up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're working on kind of fighting through those limiting beliefs, breaking the chains a little bit, maybe breaking a couple of rules, all those things that you felt obligated to do. And to really kind of gain clarity on what is possible for them in their life so that they don't feel kind of lost anymore.
Excellent. It's very well defined.
Thank you.
There's some very specific things she's going to help you with. And trust me, the person who actually quits the 9-to-5 job to pursue her dreams, that is the person who's going to totally understand your fear.
Yes.
All of them fears that are coming up.
All of those fears. Yeah, big time.
So I love to give people a different perspective on the subject, as it can mean different things for different people. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to be courageously authentic to you? And how do you practice it in your life?
Yeah. So, I named the group that after actually first naming it Fearlessly Authentic. And I immediately scrapped that because I think there's no such thing as just having no fear at all. It's kind of how you can work through that fear on the other side and grow. And that takes courage to do that. So that's why I kind of switched the name of that. My journey in personal development started almost 3 years ago. And that whole time it was just like trying to should I or should I not listen to my intuition? And finally I just decided to have the bravery to listen and to really do what felt right to me, even and especially when it wasn't expected or it wasn't the norm. And that's kind of where that authenticity piece comes in. So it's, to me, being authentic means to really trust and honor my true self, and not people please.
Yep.
Recovering people pleaser right here. So that's kind of where the name came from.
Okay. All right. I like it.
What the group is about. So.
And 3 years, that sounds about right. It really is It really is a journey.
It is. It is. And it's not, it's not over. It's just the next phase of that journey now. But yeah, I think, because I spent so much time involved in the personal development, but not really knowing why or how it was going to serve me at that point, it's been really cool over the last couple of months seeing that all kind of come to fruition. And now I'm able to kind of condense the timelines of those 2+ years that it took me to help women get there quicker.
Yes. And that's the beauty of it is it's always good to have a coach who's lived and walked the walk.
Yes.
That's what keeps you authentic, and it's integrity as well. So Absolutely. You're teaching something that you yourself have understood and felt and dealt with.
Yeah, so it's hard to be in alignment with someone who maybe you're like, do they really know? Or that's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what made you passionate about this subject? Did something happen to start you on your journey?
I think it was just being in the field I was in for so long. I don't know. It's so funny because I've thought about this a lot. And there may have been a time in my past, I think it was in college when I was deciding what I wanted to do. I went to a liberal arts school. So there's a lot of kind of, what do you want to do? And my mother had dropped the little hint in my ear, you should try this, speech therapy class or whatever. So even back then it was kind of you should do this, and I'm like, okay, I should. And fast forward, I worked actually at a children's hospital for 10 years doing speech therapy. Wow. And that's when I started to feel the itch that something more was meant for me. So I jumped to a school job. I totally changed the type of speech work that I did. That didn't quite fulfill it. So then I actually joined a network marketing company shortly after that. I thought, oh, this is it. This is it. But then that even became sort of you should do these things a certain way. That's how I felt. Some people are super successful with that, but for me, it just wasn't in alignment with what I felt I needed to, be doing. So I shifted to a different job. All these shifts, and all of a sudden I realized that external stuff that's not what it's about. You really got to change what's going on in your mind. Yep. And that's right around the same time that I in that journey is when I started with the personal development stuff and different masterminds and things. It's oh my gosh, well shit, this is actually where I need to work.
Yeah.
That other stuff isn't going to make any difference. So that's kind of how that all came to fruition.
I love that. It's a journey of awareness is really what it is.
Definitely. Yes. I love it that way. Yeah, absolutely.
So what are a few tips you could give our listeners to start them on their journey of living courageously authentic?
I thought a lot about this because I know you gave me these questions ahead of time, and I love this question. I would say that the magic is in really just allowing yourself to be the woman who you desire to be. Own her, empower her, be her now. Because it's not really about what you do. It's about who you're being when you're doing it. And that can be scary.
Oh yeah.
Very scary. That's where that courage piece comes in, because as soon as you push through that fear, it's really beautiful on the other side, all the growth and things that you can get. So, you have to trust your intuition. You have to really be true to you and what you feel is right for you. And then you have to just give yourself permission to do it, to be her, and that can be hard. Just trust yourself and give yourself that permission. But that's my advice. So I could go into that all day, but that's my
beautiful advice. I could tell you're very passionate about that part. Yeah. You were let's go down this road.
Yeah.
Yes. That's excellent. Thank you for that. Yeah. And do you ever find yourself not living authentically sometimes?
Yes, absolutely. We're all human, right? Yes. I mean, as you had said before, it's a journey of sort of self-awareness. And I've grown to be able to kind of catch myself now, quicker. But yeah,
yes,
we all have to work on it daily. We really do. No one's perfect,
Yes.
And I had a coach once teach me that only 5% of our brains are actually like conscious activity. the other 95% is subconscious. So like, that just goes to show you how much you have to really work on it consciously every day, because the rest is all autopilot. So it's very easy to slip back into what you should do, or what, everyone expects of you.
Yes.
So absolutely.
Yes.
That was a long answer, but yes.
No, it's excellent, because you did bring up a good point, that even though you slip out of your new practices and back into your old habits, part of growing is like you learn how to snap back. It gets quicker instead of it being this long, drawn out, torturous situation. Yes. Eventually it turns into okay, I've been here. Let's just move forward now, and like, I give myself, like, I call it grace to self, grace to others. So there's some days lots of days, I got to give some grace to myself and be like, okay, look, I messed up, or I slipped back. It's fine. It's what we do.
Yep.
I know now though, like I know, so let's just move forward and do better going forward.
That's right.
So
and that's a lot of the time when I choose really to focus on like gratitude also. And just take a minute to kind of quiet my mind, be present, and just, what am I grateful for right now? And that kind of flips that back.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I find that we definitely tend to live in the past and in the future quite a bit, but yes, coming back to center and being present and being grateful. Definitely. That's excellent. That's actually a really good piece of advice there, to be centered, to center yourself again.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, what do you do if you find yourself not being authentic? But you sounds like you just kind of answered that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really just try to focus on the gratitude, because I used to always worry. And like I was saying before, I still do sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
But worrying, I've learned, is just like asking for the stuff that you're worrying for to happen, to come true. So, when I can focus more on really being present and quieting my mind, it kind of releases that fear and worry for me. Yes. So that's my number one go-to.
All right. So what is one piece of advice you would give to another person struggling to live authentically?
I would say the biggest thing is just to really trust that intuitive ping that you're feeling, that you're hearing, trust it, whether or not it's comfortable.
Yes.
It's probably going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay. That's just part of life. But the longer you choose to ignore it, in my opinion, from my experience, the more painful it gets, the worse, the more uncomfortable it gets, and the more into that box you get. It's harder to kind of break your way out of that box.
Yes. So essentially, if you ignore it, it will come out at some point, some way, somehow, and it can be way worse if you continue to allow it to fester.
Yeah. And it's also thinking about, like, just trying to think about all that is possible for you. I used to always think, what if XYZ goes wrong? And now I've flipped that to, but what if XYZ goes right?
Right. I know, right? Like, what if we actually imagined all the ways it could actually work out?
Exactly. Yes.
You just never think of it like that. Like, we're so wired to go to the negatives. Mm-hmm. So I love that. I do that too. I'm like, and sometimes I will have to stop myself and be like, okay, Brooke, and what if it went perfect? Like, what if the greatest thing ever happens from this, Yeah. It's worth giving it a shot.
And following that up with, and then what are you going to do about it? Like, let's figure out what we can do to make that positive one happen.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So, do you currently have any classes, events that you're running right now? Like, tell me a little bit about what you've got going on in your business.
So, through Facebook is really where I'm running my business right now. Mm-hmm. I want to just focus on the one area to start off with. But actually, starting tomorrow, I'm doing a 3-day live training, like, workshop. And it's focusing a lot on actually what we've talked about, but it's called Happiness is an Inside Job.
So, I think I've seen it. I think I've seen the thing.
Yeah. So really kind of looking at, like, this would be for the woman who's feeling really overwhelmed by what always feels impossible to them in life. Probably a lot of, like, comparing to other people, coming up with excuses as to why it won't work for them, and just feeling like, sorry, hopefully I was allowed to say that word. I think I said twice already. But to then shifting to like being obsessed with all that is possible for them. So
Yes.
that's over the next 3 days. I'll just be
and that's going to be through your Facebook group, correct?
through my actually it's through my Facebook wall. So just Caitlin Sirois. Yeah.
Okay. All right then. So yeah, because what I'll do is I'll put that in there, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put that in the notes for everybody as well down below.
Sounds
so
great.
you can get in there and check it out.
Yeah. And then I also have my first 4-week program launching on June 10th. That's called
That's exciting.
Project. So that's going to be diving even deeper into a lot of what I've talked about. But my intention for those women is to come out with the ability to really shift their perspective on kind of what we talked about again, like what is possible for them, and gaining clarity on what that life could look like for them.
Exactly. That's great. Yeah. And again, where they would find that on your Facebook wall eventually, like you'll start having
I've been actually sharing about that quite a bit on my wall.
Okay.
And it's also in the group Courageously Authentic. So
in the group Courageously Authentic. Okay. Excellent.
That's a passion project. So I'm excited.
So I was going to ask you, where can people find you these days if they wanted more of the great Caitlin Sirois?
Sirois. You were close. It's okay.
If you can see some of the people I have interviewed and their names, I have butchered.
No worries.
Common theme. And it's I always, as soon as I hit record, I go, and I did not ask for their last name. Every time. But it sounds like so you're on Facebook, you have a Facebook group, Courageously Authentic, and you're on Instagram.
I am on Instagram. I just haven't used it quite as much recently, but I will be as I continue to build. So yes,
that's fine. So you would find her most active on Facebook. Yep. And again, all this information will be posted in the show notes, so you can find her at any time and get with her if you'd like to work with her. And all right, that is all the questions we have for today. I appreciate your time, Caitlin, and all your information.
Thank you so much for asking me to do this. This was really fun. I love it.
It's fun. So, it's exciting to get it out there and to say it. And exactly, that's a good time.
Just to share with your listeners, before you hit live or before you hit record, I said how nervous I was. And this is just proof right here for anyone who needs to see the proof. I was really freaking nervous. And now look, right? Push here and see what happens.
Exactly.
Beautiful, powerful moments. So
yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We hope to be hearing from you again soon.
For sure.
All right. Let's see. I always do this, guys. I'm always like, which button do I hit while I stare at the camera?